Terrell Thomas with These Urban Times. I'm sitting down today with a gentleman who I've known for some time. I've known about his music for some time. I've seen him out and about for some years. And it's great to see him getting the recognition that he deserves. It's great to see all the success in which you are having. Kato on the track, how you feeling today, good sir?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me.
Always love, man. Good to sit down and chat with you. There's a few things I want to talk with you about, get your perspective on, get some insight about your music career, production, give some advice to up and coming producers, excuse me. But I want to start off about something cool that you're doing with Red Bull. Season 2 of Red Bull's Mystery Pack is officially out right now, and episode 1 features you. It talks about your recent success as far as your TikTok smash hit So Pretty. It talks about you and your success on Billboard, things of that nature. How did your relationship with Billboard come about? Excuse me, with Red Bull come about?
We have some mutual relationships. And so my business partner connected me with Red Bull and basically pitched them, the whole idea of me doing something with them. And then they came back with the idea of doing the Mystery Pack series with them. And I was down. I just thought it was a dope idea. So I was down and I flew out to LA and shot it with them.
Okay. Oh, so you actually did. You went to LA to actually get everything done.
I did, yeah.
What was that like in these times?
I won't lie, I was a little apprehensive, but Red Bull made me feel super, super safe. Like they took all the right precautions. I walked up in there, they had the compliance officer give us like instant COVID tests, and everyone was masked up. So it was cool, man. They made me feel real safe.
Okay. Great to hear. Give our audience, if you don't mind, a little history, some more information on your background when it comes to music and being a music producer. As I mentioned a moment ago, I've known of you and your work for some time, for a long time, to be quite honest with you. But when did you actually dive into the music game? What got you into wanting to be a producer?
I would say I started producing as a freshman in college. Okay. And up to that point, I had always been involved in music somehow. I, played the drums as a kid. I was always involved in like concert band throughout high school and middle school. So it's always been a part of my life. But as a freshman in college, I started experimenting with production and got my hands on a cracked version of FL Studio. And I didn't know any rappers. And so I was making all these beats, but I didn't know any rappers to like send the beats to. And so I was like, you know what? This rapping thing doesn't seem too hard. And so I gave it a shot and I started rapping over my own beats. And that's how it really, really all started from there.
Can you let our audience know who were some of the first rappers once you were able to get in contact with rappers and kind of build your catalog and build relationships? Who were some of the artists in which you had opportunities to work with?
So when I moved to Atlanta after my freshman year of college, I dropped out, because I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life at that point. And music was something that it was like more of a hobby back then, because I didn't see it to have the potential of like becoming a career. Social media wasn't really a thing back then. We had like MySpace and Facebook, but artists weren't going viral on these social media platforms like they are today. And so it just seemed a little far-fetched still at that point. So I moved to Atlanta, and when I moved to Atlanta, that's when it became more realistic to me. I started meeting more artists. I started going out and meeting more rappers and singers and other producers and just other creatives that had the same ambition as me to make it in the music industry. And so one of the first artists that I connected with was Jaron Benton, who's a fellow ATLian. And we started working. Like we locked in, started working on a lot of music together. And within a couple of years, all these blogs were picking it up and posting about our stuff. And then he got signed to Funk Volume, which was an independent label out of LA that was started by Hobson. And so, yeah, after that, that's when stuff really started to take off.
Okay. You mentioned that you played the drums before actually becoming a producer. Having that experience with actually playing a live instrument, how do you feel like that's helped or impacted your sound as far as production is concerned?
I think it's been a big part of it. You know, I think about it a lot now. It's like, if I didn't have exposure to, you know, playing the drums or, you know, picking up the guitar or learning these instruments early on, I wonder if it would have happened the same way. You know what I mean? Because in hip hop, really any like popular music, the rhythm component of it is such a huge part of that. And so, you know, when I'm like laying down my drums on a new beat that I'm working on, I think about like, if I didn't learn drums in my childhood, like, would my shit still slap? You know? And yeah, so I think it's definitely a big part of it. It definitely helped.
As we see right now, you mentioned a moment ago about Facebook and MySpace. Those were the only, you know, kind of social platforms back in the day, when we were younger.
Yeah.
What we see now, one of the platforms, TikTok, has changed the way we listen to music or receive our music, changed the way music is marketed. And you actually recently had a record that's had a lot of success on TikTok, in which you produced So Pretty. Could you talk to me about the creative process behind producing the record and how you got with the young lady who actually put the record out?
Yeah. So Pretty started as a beat that I posted on TikTok back in November of last year.
Okay.
And I didn't really think anything of it. It was just kind of another beat that I was posting on my TikTok. And at that point, I had maybe like 1,000 followers on TikTok. I was brand new to the platform. But I saw the potential of people on TikTok duetting to my beats and rapping their own, freestyling their own verse or whatever. And so I'll say like probably I would say about a month or two after posting that beat, I started to notice that I was getting a lot of traction from one video in particular that this girl, Rayana Maria, 19-year-old Australian girl, she had duetted to that beat on TikTok, and it just started going all the way up. Like people were sharing it, people were making their own TikTok videos to her sound. And so I reached out I sent it to my team, and they were like, yo, you need to hit up Rayana Maria ASAP and get this shit recorded. And so that's what I did. I reached out to her and she was down. We set up a studio session for her out there in Melbourne, Australia. We jumped on Zoom together and knocked out the song in a 5-hour Zoom session.
That's amazing, you know, with the times that we're living in, how recording and connections are actually made. Was it difficult with her being in Australia? Of course, I know of several occasions where producers may send an artist work and they're in two different locations, two different sides of the world. But was it different having not met the young lady before, with her being in a totally different time zone and you guys having to do things via Zoom? Was that different or difficult for you in any manner?
It was definitely different. I'd never done that to that extent before. You know, she's like, I think she's 12 or 15 hours ahead of me. And so, you know, I was up late that night just doing that Zoom session with her. But it wasn't difficult, man. Like, you know, I've been in the game for 10 plus years, over a decade. And so my whole career has been based off of locking in with new artists, just, you know, just being in the vibe, like creating music together. So in that regard, it was pretty much just what I always do.
Terrell Thomas, These Urban Times, once again sitting down with producer Kato on the track. If you haven't had opportunity yet, check out his latest episode of the Red Bull Mystery Pack. You can check it out on YouTube. He's on episode 1, and you'll find out a whole lot more about So Pretty. Can I dive into your creative process? Could you give us some insight about like when you're in the studio creating beats, when you're by yourself? What is your creative process normally like when you're creating music?
You know, it really depends. It really depends on like who I'm creating for, or if I'm just at the crib by myself cooking up new beats. you know, it'll be a super like kind of low pressure type of situation where I'm just making you stuff just because, you know what I mean? So it really depends on the situation, but I've been working on an album for the last couple months now. And that's definitely been a process of like me working with my team, collaborating with other producers, other songwriters, a lot of artists. We got a ton of features on the album that I think people are going to be excited for. So yeah, the most recently, my process has been a lot about collaboration and working with other creatives.
I can't let you mention a project that you're working on and not dive into it. Could you give us some more insight? I know you may not want to release everything as of now, but do you have a title for the project or an expected release date? And who are some artists or fellow producers that you may have worked with for your upcoming project?
So the title right now, the working title is Overnight Success Story. Okay. And I titled it that because the irony of like what's been happening since the TikTok thing, and you know, just because of the recent collaborations that I have, I got a couple of joints on the Mount Westmore, the upcoming Mount Westmore album with
that's hard.
E40, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, and Too Short. That's hard. I'm really excited about that. You know, I feel like recently a lot of people are kind of more tuned into what I'm doing and paying attention to what I've been trying to build for the last decade plus. And I just think it's ironic that, you know, people who may not be familiar, may have not been familiar with my history, like they're just now getting onto Kato on the Track. They think that I just got in the game and like I just popped off because of this TikTok thing, or, you know, I was some like overnight sensation. And the reality is so far from that. Like I've been doing my thing for a long time. And so I wanted to create a body of work that just kind of told that story a little bit more. And not only that, but kind of told the story of a lot of these aspiring artists who I've discovered in the process, and letting them kind of have their moment to shine on the same project with a lot of these big features that I have. So it's like it's a really cool, like dope kind of concept that I put together with my team. And I've collaborated a lot with a lot of songwriters. My homie Crash is on there. I don't want to give away too many of the features, but we got the homie Paul Wall on there, who is a H-Town legend. You know, we got production from my team, Silence and Nephew. So there's a lot of dope music on there, man. I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. It is the irony, as you say, even in the title of the project, because as you've mentioned, I've known you for some time. You've been putting in work for some time, and it is always funny when people reach success. Folks say, "Well, where did he or she come from?" You know, and they don't know all of the steps that were taken in the journey and the process that was taken. I love that. I'll be looking forward to hearing the project, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you got going on the Westmore. That's hot. That's very, that's legendary right there, to be quite honest with you.
Sure.
As we move forward, we now know that you do have a new project in which will be coming out soon. You have some materials that'll be on a legendary project with some legendary West Coast hip hop legends that'll be coming really soon as well. Summer's not too far away. We just recently entered the second quarter of 2021, but spring is here. We're starting to get longer days. As we continue to move closer to summer, what else can we expect from you?
One thing so going back to the album, one dope thing I left out that I'm going to be doing for the album is I want to give aspiring artists the opportunity to get on my album. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post some of the songs that I have from the album with empty verses, and let people on Instagram remix or just freestyle their verses to those songs and post their video. And we're going to choose a couple features from Instagram and feature them on the album. So we're working through that campaign now. But you know, it's going to be it's going to be a dope opportunity, man.
Please allow our audience, or tell our audience rather, how they can stay in contact with you via social media, how if they haven't heard any of your material as of yet, how they can check out your material, and just how to overall stay in contact with everything you have going on.
Everywhere on all social media platforms, it's at Kato Producer, Kato Producer. And other than that, you know, you can hit me up, DM me, comment. Like I'm always checking my comments and my DMs. So keep in touch. And I appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Oh, always love, man. Keep doing your thing. Big shout out to Red Bull. Shout out to you as well. We'll be looking forward to your projects, man. Be looking forward to see what you have going on. And hopefully later on this year, we can sit down again and kind of catch up and just hear more about the project.
No doubt. I'm with it.
Take care, man. Have a good one.